It is possible.
Yes, definitely. I think hope was the thing that was missing for many years of my journey. It's nice to have testimonials from people who had gone through what I went through and they came out on the other side. So for a while, I was in a lot of Facebook groups on Lyme and mold and everything. And it was actually harder for me because people are typically only posting in there because they're desperate and they're like, oh my gosh, has anyone had this symptom? I feel awful. So you're kind of like getting that in your head all day. And so it was interesting for me. Like I did mute them for a little while and I was like, okay, I'm shifting to tracking my symptoms, which I was doing to a T, like 10:30 a.m. had this symptom. I'm gonna try to intellectualize what I did wrong. Is it because I ate an egg for breakfast, or is it because I didn't sleep well last night? So that was my life for the first couple of years of trying to heal was just like, I'm smart. I can figure out problems. Let me figure out what's wrong with me. Let me just track everything and make spreadsheets. But I think the biggest shift for me was like, okay, let me just get rid of all these people that are just sad and they're low vibration. You're getting reminded of how sick you are all the time. And I just wasn't strong enough at that point. I think groups are really, really helpful and I learned a ton from them. But this was my lowest point where I was like, I really need everything that I'm experiencing to be gratitude, affirmations, mantras, like positive stories. So there was a recovered group for POTS. That was probably my most troublesome symptom because it prevented me from really walking and exercising, and stairs were awful and heat was really bad. And so there's a group that was for only for positive like recovery stories. And I was like, okay, like we're going to focus on that. We're going to do our limbic system retraining. And I do think shifting from the symptom tracking to tracking my wins every day, even if they were so small, even if it was like, I stood in my kitchen long enough to make myself a smoothie this morning. Wow, that's amazing. And then you can look back on them, like, 6 months later, I was like, "I can't believe my wins were this tiny." Like, now I'm standing in front of the gym and I'm doing maybe like a 20-minute light workout or something, but it's like, wow, the growth, when you start looking at the positives, that was huge for me.
That's amazing. And I just want to say too, I agree with you on the groups. I mean, I think that they can be helpful, but many years ago I went through anxiety. I'm over it. I've been over it for many years, but I had panic and anxiety disorder, and a well-meaning friend who was a psychologist invited me to her group that she was doing, and it was like a 12-week class. And
Mm,
I really appreciate it, but I found that just sitting there listening to everybody else talking about how anxious they are and what makes
they're
them
too
anxious was
anxious.
just reinforcing it for me.
Yes, I agree.
I was like, I really, and this sounds really mean, but at that point, I just wanted to get rid of my own problem. I really didn't care that somebody else
Yeah.
was dealing with the same thing. I just wanted to get rid of it for me.
You're like, "What do I do to get better?" Like, I also always had empathy for people because it's, like, you feel like, "Okay, like, I get what you're saying, but also I'm not at a point to have enough energy to really, like, try to help anyone else. I just wanna
Exactly.
make myself better." Yeah, I get that.